Démosle un fuerte aplauso a David Kwong.
I know, but thank you for having me. My name is David Kwong. The first thing I want to say is that my father is Chinese from Hong Kong, but my mother is Jewish, so I'm a mix, and I'm very proud of my diversity, and I'm very proud to be... Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I am both a magician and a puzzle maker. So I write crossword puzzles for the New York Times newspaper. So this basically means that I've taken the world's two nerdiest hobbies and combined them into one. So I thought I would start off with a combination of magic and puzzles. You know what this is called? Rubik's Cube. It's now, I think, 43 years old, the Rubik's Cube. Can we get a shot of this? Perfect. Watch carefully as I give it a few twists and turns, and I should be able to get this cube to just solve like this. Okay, don't worry. The show will get better than that, I promise. So I'm going to speak to you today about some of the principles of magic. Now, most magicians, in some way or another, they pretend they have superpowers. But I am of a very small number of practitioners who basically say that it's not superpowers, it's all science. It's the science of misdirection, getting you to look where you're not supposed to look. And it's the science of getting one step ahead, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead of where you are. It's the science of fooling your brain. So I'd like to talk today about how a magician thinks. And it starts with a story out of Hollywood. I live in Los Angeles. And it involves a director named Edgar Wright. Now, Edgar Wright is famous for his movies like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Are you familiar with Shaun of the Dead? Have you seen this movie? It's an amazing, amazing comedy horror film. The Adventures of Tintin. Have you seen The Adventures of Tintin? He co-wrote the script for that. So he's a very clever and smart guy. And Edgar invited me over to his house to teach him how a magician thinks. So I called up my friend, his name is Blake Voigt. And Blake Voigt is one of the most talented magicians in the world. And Blake and I together went over to Edgar's house to teach him how a magician thinks. Now, the afternoon did not start off well. We showed up about 15 minutes late. We apologized that we couldn't find the house, but we started doing magic tricks in the living room, and everybody was happy after that. And when we finished, Edgar turned to us and said, "Can you show me one more amazing trick?"
And we said, we just did all of our best tricks, but I think we can come up with one more. Okay. Do you have an outdoor space, like a driveway? Is there a driveway we can go to? And Edgar said, well, I have a very lovely backyard. Let's go to the back. So we all went out through the kitchen to the back, and we're standing there on the porch, looking over the grass and the trees. And I turned to Edgar and I said, I want you to name any playing card. Free choice, any card you want. And he said, 5 of hearts. And then my friend, Blake, he said, Edgar, I want you to point anywhere you want in the yard. And Edgar pointed at about 2 o'clock from where we were standing. So we headed over to where he was pointing. And I had Edgar get down and dig in the dirt at the base of this bush. And there he found a single playing card. And when he opened it, it was the 5 of hearts. So of course, Edgar's mind was blown. Now you're probably wondering, how did we do this? Edgar wanted to know as well. He said, guys, you have to tell me, how did you pull off this amazing magic trick? And I said, well, Edgar, you asked me to teach you how a magician thinks. And so I took out my iPad and I played him a video. And here it is of me and Blake burying 52 playing cards in his backyard. So you get the idea, right? We showed up an hour early and we buried 52 playing cards in his backyard. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how magic works. It is not smoke and mirrors. I don't know why this is going. Let's get this to go back. Okay. It's not smoke and mirrors, it's not dancing girls. Magic is about getting 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead, or even 52 steps ahead of your audience. Now, Blake and I did not make up this idea. This is called the illusion of free choice. And what the illusion of free choice is that if you can get your audience believing that they are dictating how the trick goes, they will buy into the illusion more. It seems kind of crazy, right? But think about this. When was the last time you were trying to convince someone of something? Maybe it was your friend, maybe it was your parents, maybe it was your teacher. And in order to get them to accept your idea, you convinced them that it was their idea to begin with. That is the illusion of free choice. If you have a project, if you're trying to sell something, the person you are trying to convince will be much more likely to accept your idea if you allow them to think it is their idea instead of strong-arming them through a hard sell. And if you're successful, they will take more ownership over the outcome of what happens. They will be more emotionally invested in what happens if you can convince them it's their idea. Now, I'm going to give you the science behind how this works. In the year 2000, a couple of French scientists, Alexandre Pascal and Nicolas Guéguin, they conducted an experiment, and they told a young man to go into a shopping mall and ask people for money for the bus. And it was a very simple line. He would say, "May I please have some money for the bus?" And only 10% of the people he asked were willing to give him change for the bus. But then, in this controlled experiment, he asked a different set of people the exact same thing. "Can I please have money for the bus?" But this time he added the following line: "You are free to accept or refuse." In other words, he was reminding them that they had a choice, that he was not forcing them to give him money. And the results skyrocketed nearly 5-fold. 47.5% of the people that he asked and said, "But you are free to accept or refuse," gave him money. And what's more, the people that did give him money gave him twice as much money as the first set of people. So just reminding people that they have free will, reminding people that they are able to choose things, will get them to be more agreeable, more obliging, and more willing to participate and more generous. Now, I'm going to tell you about another, this is sort of a cognitive bias, and it's called the choice supportive bias. And what that means is that we as human beings
will defend our own ideas
over other people's ideas. If we discover something by ourselves, if we arrive at a conclusion ourselves, we will defend it, even if we know that it's flawed, in the face of other people's ideas. And there's a very cool example from history that I'd like to share with all of you. So the date is April 30th, 1943. Can we advance the next slide? There we go. April 30th, 1943. It's World War II. And off the coast of Huelva, Spain, a fisherman finds a body lying face down in the Atlantic Ocean, the coast of Spain. And this body is floating face down. It's in full military uniform. It's held afloat by a life vest. And handcuffed to this man's wrist is a briefcase that contains information. Now, at the time, Spain was a neutral country, but the Allies, the Americans, the Brits, they knew that Spain was leaning towards Germany. So they figured that the Germans would find this briefcase, that the Spaniards would give the Germans the briefcase, and the Germans would then open it very carefully and look at the information that was inside the briefcase. This is part of an elaborate operation known as Operation Mincemeat. Now, they took great pains to have details about this person. His name was Major William Martin. He was part of the Royal British Marines and Operation Mincemeat. And they took great pains that the details all made sense, that this seemed like it was a real person. They had a real body that they dropped in the ocean. They had a death notice that they placed in the newspaper of William Martin's death. They had his girlfriend as well in his wallet. Why did they want the Germans to think this was a real person? Because the information was false. We call this disinformation for Operation Mincemeat. And what the disinformation said was when the Allies who were in North Africa would cross the Mediterranean and invade. So the Germans knew that they would go somewhere, but they didn't know if it was going to be Greece or Sicily or Sardinia or the Balkans. And this information was dangled just in front of the Germans so that they would conclude for themselves that the Allies would invade Greece and Sardinia, when in fact, on July 10th, 1943, where there were no defenses, the Allies invaded Sicily instead. And the reason this worked is because the Germans arrived at this decision themselves. This is the power of choice, of free choice. Now, there's a term called choice architecture, and that is largely what the Allies were doing here. They were reorganizing the context in which people make decisions. This is a term coined by Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein in their book Nudge. And choice architecture is basically designing ways to help people make decisions that will help themselves. So they take a filter they put on this and they look at it through leadership. And this is what good leaders will do, is they will nudge you just a little bit. They know what their followers need to do, and they will push them ever so gently in the right direction so that they make the decision for themselves. A good example of nudging would be in the cafeteria for lunch. Perhaps the school wants you to eat healthier food, so they will put the healthy food right at eye level, so you will all see that first, and the unhealthy food is below it or behind it. But they are ultimately allowing you to make the decision yourself, right? There's a great quote that I love from the American President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Leadership is the art of getting people to do what must be done. Okay? Again, putting the power in other people's hands. And magicians are great at this. They alter your choice environment, reorganizing the context in which you make a decision. So I'm going to give you a very simple example of a magic trick that you can try at home of how you can reorganize the choice environment. So if you have somebody choose a card, and you can, through any number of ways, shuffle and figure out what that card is, okay? So you have to know what that card is. For the big finale of the trick, try this. You lay all 4 cards out in front of your audience. So there's one closest to them, number 2, number 3, and then the 4th one is the furthest from them. And you put the chosen card as number 2. And you say to your audience, I want you to choose any card. And 75% of the time, your audience will choose card number 2. And the reason is because card number 1 is too close to them. It's the obvious choice. And cards number 3 and 4, the furthest away, if you put them just far away enough that they have to get out of their chair to touch them, they won't do it. And that's reorganizing the context that they will choose decisions. Now, if they choose the wrong card, then you have to use outs, which are sort of escape plans, and I'll tell you about that on another day. So, I want you to think about this. How can you in your life be a choice architect? You have an idea, you have a project, you have something that you want other people to accept and to pick up. How is it that you can convince them that is their idea? Because if they do that, they will be more willing to go along with you. And I'm not saying that you need to be manipulative. You're probably asking yourself, isn't magic inherently deceptive? Aren't you tricking people? Yes, it has its roots in that, but I think there's a positive way that you can embrace this principle, that you can be in more command of your own life, and you can reorganize the context in which other people make decisions. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about how my friend Blake and I were able to reorganize the environment in the trick that we did in Edgar Wright's backyard. So, you recall that we showed up to the house 15 minutes late, and we were horribly embarrassed. But we did this on purpose, because we were saying, sorry, we couldn't find the house, we had never been here before, even though we were there a couple of hours earlier burying the 52 playing cards. I like to call this planned spontaneity. So in other words, magicians are always prepared, and then we pretend that something's happening for the very first time. Planned spontaneity. And we prepare to such an extent, we go to such crazy lengths to do something, that you will dismiss it as the solution. We will spend hours and hours and hours and hours burying playing cards. It seems impossible that anybody would sacrifice their entire day doing that, right? Or even the act of practicing something, sleight of hand in front of the mirror for 1,000 hours, when the trick only takes 10 seconds to perform, is another example of the great lengths that magicians go so that you dismiss that as a possible solution. Okay, now we were sitting in the living room and we finished our tricks, but we did not offer to do the last trick in the backyard. We waited for Edgar to ask us to do the last trick, at which point we said, we just did all of our tricks, we don't have anything left, but I think we could probably do one more thing. So again, we made it his idea. And then where did I suggest that we do the final trick? The driveway. We let Edgar himself say, you know what, I think the backyard is a better place to do the trick. We let that be his decision. Now, you might also be wondering, how is it that we were able to get Edgar to point right at the 5 of hearts after he named it? I am not going to tell you. But I'll give you a little hint. We used a lot of suggestion and influence to get him to point right where we wanted him to point. But here's the important takeaway, is that after we forced him to point where we wanted him to point, we changed the story. We said, Edgar, remember, you could have pointed anywhere, but you pointed right there. And every time I see Edgar in Hollywood at a party, maybe, and he's telling the story to other people, I will remind him that he could have pointed anywhere. And I always go like this. I always remind him that he had free choice to point anywhere.
And that's something else that magicians do, is that we change the we're constantly changing the story. Now, I didn't have the ability to bury 52 playing cards here in this auditorium.
But I did bring a pack of cards, and I thought I would demonstrate for all of you some tricks with the cards. So we're going to bring a camera on, we're going to bring a table on as well, so that I can do some sleight of hand. What I'm going to do is come into the audience and have some cards selected. Now, it's much easier to have a single card selected, but I'm going to try to do it with a number of cards. So I'm going to go right here to you, and I'll have you choose any card you like, please. And you may look at it, and you may show the people around you as well. I'm going to have a number of cards selected. Would you choose one for me? Just take one out. That one, okay, good. Can I have you choose a card for me? You just take one out, thank you. Sure. And share it with the people around. Everyone get a good look. Would you take one for me, please? You want one as well? How about the two of you? Okay, good. All right. Can you take one from me? And just hold it up so everybody behind you can see. Everyone's looking away from me. They don't want. One there, and one for you? Oh, all the way over here, okay.
All right, good. So everyone is looking at their cards. Hold them up. Okay? And I'll take them back one at a time. Okay, remember your card? Remember your card? Thank you. Okay. Good. Thank you. And one last one here. Okay, good. Don't forget your card. I'm going to come back up and demonstrate how to control playing cards.
Now the first thing that I'll do is I will try to, I'll mix these up to make it a little more difficult. And then I will complicate things even further by shuffling in some other cards into the deck. Now, if you chose a card, if you're one of the 8 or 9 people to choose cards, I need you to remember your card. Who forgot it already? Because if you forget, basically the whole trick is ruined, okay? Okay, now look, I'm going to take this mix of cards. First I shuffled yours, and then I mixed in some others. And the camera's going to show you down here that I'm going to very cleanly and very fairly throw them into the pack. Can you see that? Good. Into the middle, up near the top, in the middle again, in the bottom, and you can see I'm not bending any of the corners. I'm not marking them with a dot. This is a mix of the cards. And then, to stay honest, because I'm an honest magician, I'm going to shuffle these like this. Okay, I'm going to try to do this one at a time. I will ask you what card you chose, and you can, if you tell me what it is, I will try to find it in the deck of cards. So I'm going to start all the way over here. Can you yell out the name of your card? 9? It's okay, I don't speak any Spanish, so you're way ahead of me with 9. Is it hearts, diamonds, spades, or clubs? Clubs, 9 of clubs. The three, someone told, I was trying to learn the word backstage. Is it treble, is it? Okay. I'm sorry for my... Okay, here we go. The 9 of clubs. Now watch, a few cuts of the cards, just like this. And I can have one card, just like this, be the 9 of clubs. Thank you. Okay, who else picked one? What did you have there? King of diamonds, okay. What did you have? King of diamonds, 4 of hearts, okay. I might have to go a little bit out of order here. King of diamonds and 4 of hearts. Let me see if I can cut the cards here. Watch here on the table. One card about there should be the 4 of hearts, yes? We're good. Woo. Okay, the King of Diamonds was, did you say? King of Diamonds, okay. Now, Harry Houdini came up with this next move. It's from the turn of the last century, and we still call it the Houdini change. The Houdini change, it looks like this. Watch. I'll take the 10, I'll just cover it for a moment, and when I rub like this, it changes to your card with the King of Diamonds. Thank you. Now, the husband and wife, you chose cards together. What did you have? 6 of diamonds and? 8? Peak, spades, peak, good. 6 of diamonds and 8 of spades. Here we go. Oh, let me tell you the history of this trick. 19th century magician from Vienna, Austria. His name was Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. That was his real name. He is the father of modern card magic, and he devised the following way to find two cards at once. Here we go. 8 of spades and 6 of diamonds, just like that. Yes? Thank you. Who else had one? What did you have? Okay, and what did you have? King of clubs? Okay, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Who else? And was there anyone else there, or no? That's it? Ace, okay. So let me try to find, I think I heard the King of Clubs, right? Okay, let's do this for the King of Clubs. You know magicians use their sleeves. You've heard that. Magicians use their sleeves. I don't use the inside of my sleeve. That's too boring. I like to use the outside of my sleeve. So if I take the 3 of diamonds, I will use the outside of my sleeve right here. Can we see that? Good. Right here. Watch carefully. 3 of diamonds. It should change like this to the King of Clubs. Not bad. Okay. Ace of diamonds. I'm going to try to do a one-handed swivel cut, which is not that hard. But what is difficult is to get the Ace of diamonds to fly out of the deck and spin through the air about 10 times, and I'm going to try to catch it here in my right hand. Now, I have to tell you the truth. I only catch it about a third of the time. So if I do catch it, you have to give me a big applause, basically. Okay, here we go. Ace of diamonds, right? The top pivots to the bottom, and one card out of the middle. Oh, I got it this time. That's the Ace of diamonds, yes? Okay. Oh. No, I left someone out. Sorry. Okay, sorry, don't tell me. I just did my coolest thing. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Can you remember your card?
Can you remember it? Other people saw it as well? Okay, I'm going to do something very special with your card. I have a better idea for your card. And it involves this board here. So I'm going to come over here so you can all see this, and the camera will shoot this as well. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the size of the New York Times crossword puzzle. Do you like crossword puzzles? Do people do them here in Mexico? Yes? Good.
That makes me very happy. I'm going to teach you about the New York Times American version of the crossword puzzle, all the rules that go into making a crossword puzzle, and I'm going to try to use letters and words that are given by you to make it a little more difficult for me, okay? So we always have long words to start. So let me ask you this. Can someone please yell out for me their favorite dinosaur? Okay, I've heard a Tyrannosaurus Rex and what else? And pterodactyl. Okay. Pterodactyl, the flying one, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, this is the middle of the board. And I'm going to put pterodactyl there. I think this is better. Tyrannosaurus Rex is too long. It's too long, it won't fit. But pterodactyl is perfect. Here's why it's perfect. It's 11 letters long. And 11 is good because it can sit in the middle of the 15 wide grid. And the reason we want it to sit in the middle is because the black squares are symmetrical. See that? But it's not what you think. Let me do this a little bit further. If I put 3 here, I put 3 here. What we call this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is rotational symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I take the whole board and I flip it upside down, the black squares will be in the same place. Rotational symmetry. Cool? Now if I screw this up, If I mess up, you have to let me know. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll put in some here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I can figure out a way, some of the words, I will give them to you as clues, like in the New York Times crossword puzzle. Okay. So let me start here. And this will be tandems, which is like bicycles that two people can ride at once. I like this because these letters are very easy for me to work with. Okay? Let's do this here.
Is rotational symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I take the whole board and I flip it upside down, the black squares will be in the same place. Rotational symmetry. Cool? Now if I screw this up, and I mess up
here. Mendez, very good. Very good. Eva Mendez goes there. So I have a C and a D here. There aren't many things that could be, so I will make it CDs, compact discs. I think many of the students here don't even know what compact discs are, right? Okay. How about this? TE blank blank blank. TE blank blank blank. Your clue is to make fun of someone. Tease, very good. Tease. And this word here, M blank SA.
Let's do this here. Okay, I'm going to give you a D here.
Did we take that word from Spanish? Probably, right? Okay. And then this here, I'll give you the P going across. The cousin of the knife and the fork, spoons. Actually, it should be forks and knives with the plural, with the S on the end, because I want the S here, okay? Let me do this, and I will keep the symmetry, you see? The symmetry. And this will be like the name of the actress Isla Fisher, from the movie Now You See Me, by the way, Isla Fisher, which means island. And then this one, some of you might be too young for this, but I'll try it anyway. Blank blank, IPE, is the name of the lead singer from the band REM. Does anyone know? Stipe, Michael Stipe, very good. Yes. Okay. Michael Stipe, I have to keep the symmetry here. This is good. We have LOOM, loom. We have SOR, like sorority. And up here, I have a question, which is 3 letters. Does anyone know what killed Cleopatra? The type of snake that killed Cleopatra. I guess in English we call it an asp, ASP. A blank 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 blank. This could be like the armpit. If I give you an STS, this word here is figures in the church. Priest, that's very good. And this could be sues, like a lawsuit. I rest my case would go here. Sierra, the mountain range, right? Menu, you look at in a restaurant. Ponied up. 4 letters here, 4 letters. A big piece of hair. Afro, very good. Afro. Okay. Does anyone know, oh blank 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 blank, what Greek letter follows psi? Omega, very good. Wow. Okay. Now, I have a G here, so I'm going across like this. I don't know if there's a Spanish word for this, but in English we have a word that is a hat trick. A hat trick is when you score 3 goals. Yes. Is there a Spanish word for hat trick? What is it? Hat trick, okay. I'm learning Spanish, see? Okay. I'm going to do this. Ending with the L, your clue is a popular singing show, American blank. American Idol. Can anyone tell me what company makes Photoshop? Adobe Photoshop, very good. And this would be like Lou Rawls. We have blank I-L blank blank. Who can tell me a famous jazz trumpeter? Miles Davis, very good. Miles Davis. Maraca, of course, an instrument you're familiar with. We have this long one. See, now I can do the long one. Paper route, a paper route. EBT is a form of payment system. This would be like prim and proper. How about this? F-A blank 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 blank. Can somebody yell out for me any English word that starts with F-A blank 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 blank? Family. Family is what I heard the loudest. Family. Okay, now I have M blank Y-S. I need a vowel to go here. Mays, yes, that was a famous baseball player named Willie Mays. I have blank I blank L. Can somebody give me a word that can go right here? Blank I blank L. Phil? Phil, I heard Phil, okay. So now I have A-L blank blank. Any word? Alone has 5 letters. How about, let's do this, how about ales, like beers, your ales, and then blank L-E, I'll take Spanish, works there too. Ole, okay. And then we have F-O blank and blank Y-S. This is difficult. This is when you have to know crossword things. So I'm going to change this. These are crossword things like faux and Ali. That's the windward side. It's a terrible word. Don't remember that. Okay. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to try to quickly see if I can get through this. So I have to keep my symmetry, right? I'll make this overdue. No, I like that word, actually. So maybe I will use it. Let's make this overdue, and I'll make this delved. This could be an abbreviation for election. Abbreviations are okay in crosswords, right? This could be Tara, first name, a girl's first name. This could be table of contents, and your cousin and president would go there. I'm going to make it a little more difficult. Can you please tell me the month you were born in? Just the month. December, okay. So December would go like this, December, and I have to keep my symmetry here. So this could be John Cleese, member of Monty Python, right? Ellery Queen is the first name for murder mysteries. If you're playing a card game, you would want to deal me in, right? This is NYE, which is New Year's Eve. Or Bill Nye, the science guy, whose birthday is today, by the way. Okay? This could be a pre-sale and glee and sirs and messages and smell. Ream is a paper unit, an amount of paper. Cup OT, that's not a very good one. ETA, when your plane arrives. This could be Act 4, like in a play. That's a Roman numeral 4. In fact, I can even make a long word for fun, make that activism. See that? Activism? Why not? The long one will be derivative. PVCs are types of pipes. Inca is the native South American. We have daylight saving goes there. Tisk, tisk, tisk is how you go like this. And we have, last but not least, the Republic of Korea, Aina, which is one in German, and we have shown and as for hesitations, and we've done it. So give yourselves a round of applause for participating and making your very own New York Times crossword puzzle. Now, before I go, I want to point out just a few things, which is that this puzzle, come back over here, this puzzle does not have any islands in it. Now, an island is a term we use when an area is isolated, but everything is connected. So if we change the long word in the middle, which someone gave me, pterodactyl, it would change everything else. December would change everything else. But I was juggling something the whole time as I made this, and there was one playing card, the three of clubs, T-O-C, three of clubs, which is why I put it right here, T-O-C for the three of clubs. That's not cool? Okay, I thought it was cool. T-O-C, three of clubs. If that is not clear enough for you, I also put it here on the diagonal. Look, T-H-R-E-E-O-F-C-L-U-B-S. That's the three of clubs. Thank you very much, Mexico City. Thank you, CIF, for having me. Do I get to go like this?
Thank you so much, David Kwong.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for showing us the beauty of keeping in mind to reaching your dreams. Thank you so much, David
My
Kwong.
pleasure.
And we want to give you a small present.
Oh, I get one too?
Oh, you can give one to me, of course, yes. Yeah,
Oh, that's so
small
nice.
recognition from the school.
Thank you.
And also,
This is beautiful.
we have to give you these from Unibecarios y Vendamás.
I'm gonna drop it. Okay. Thank
Thank you
very
so much.
Thank you. Gracias. Yes, I know a little bit of Spanish. Thank you. Thank you so much, CIF.